morning. This is Ed Pozzuoli, President of Tripp Scott, and today we're so happy to have Wilson Atkinson join us. Many of you know Wilson as a longtime Broward stalwart inside the legal community and the development community. Wilson, thank you for joining us.
Glad to be here, Ed.
Now, Wilson, you recently joined Tripp Scott, and tell us what brought you here.
I've always wanted to be part of a development team, and Tripp Scott has that. Development team, what does it mean? It means that I have a lot of support to do what I do. And the support here is fantastic. There's Stephanie, and there's Jordana, and there's Jim Scott, and Dan Taylor. I love it.
And then tell us a little bit about what that development team does to service clients.
Most clients come to a development attorney because they find they have a problem. Sometimes it's too late when they find they have a problem.
Well, better late than never, right?
That's true. We can help some of them, but not as much as if they had come to me in the beginning. I like to represent a client that comes to me with a concept of their project. And between ourselves, we discuss how we're going to get it approved. And that goes all the way from the time of acquisition, if I'm fortunate enough, and the conditions in that contract, through the construction, and sometime, like Margaritaville, into the operation of the final product.
Most development lawyers really focus in on making sure whatever the concept is, that the client can actually build it and can get the entitlements in place. Is that really where the focus is? Or that's the typical, but you're talking more stem to stern kind of support?
I am talking stem to stern. What you discussed, what you just mentioned, would be looking at a particular city code and saying, this is what the zoning code permits. But if you really want to go beyond that, you talk to the planning director, you talk to the CRA director, if the city has one, and you say, this is what your code that you created years ago says that we can do. This is what the client's prepared to do. Does it fit your vision? And if they tell me it fits their vision, then I say, then I see these deficiencies in your code. How do we get over those obstacles?
Well, sometimes clients want to do more than what the actual code allows. There's a way to do that.
There is a way to do that. You just have to identify that it's something that benefits the public, not just the client.
And just by way of your background, in some of this we talked about the idea of taking a client from the very beginning of a concept all the way to the end and helping them even with the operations of whatever the project is. Talk about some of your experiences and your past involvement in the community as well that would give people an understanding of how broad-based your experience.
Wow, that could take us all day looking at 50 years of practice, but I would say there were three parts of my young life that taught me what I know today.
Okay. One Right, right. So just the involvement on the community side, so you clearly have your roots in the community. Talk about some of the projects. What's one of the ongoing projects that you have today that you can talk about?
My biggest project is Margaritaville. I mean, that's been a 5-year project. It should get its certificate of occupancy at the end of this summer, and it will be open for business before the first of the year. In fact, they're looking forward to having their New Year party there, which will be a big event. It's on Hollywood Beach. It's a 5-acre tract of land that the city has tried to develop since I started practicing law. To the best of my recollection, they've had 3 projects that they've gone out to RFPs. They've all failed. That experience enabled me to assist the Logetta Group and the Margaritaville Group to put a plan together that would work not only for the developer, for the city.
So it's not only the concept that was ultimately approved by the city, but this is actually now going to take place, and we're actually going to be able to go to Margaritaville.
You are, and the city will own a 600 parking space public garage, of which it's all being funded primarily by the developer. It'll have a 350 room hotel that it had always tried to get, but in addition to that, all of that density is on A1A. So maybe 2 acres have been used for that big building. The 3 acres between the building and the Broadwalk, where all of the public is walking in the ocean, is all at ground level, and it just has the Margaritaville 1-story restaurants and a resort swimming pool, slides, public facilities.
So not only was this good for the developer, obviously for the clients, but it was also good for the public, because my understanding is the public still has access to the beach and still has access to the facilities that along the way, and that the city also gained additional needed parking.
That's correct. Plus, it's a 99-year lease that's been calculated to give $1 billion of rent to the city over that period of time.
So it impacts their tax rolls.
Oh, it helps them significantly.
So that was kind of the project that we're talking about, a win-win-win, both for the public, the municipality, as well as for the clients. That's kind of the sweet spot of what land development and you try to do, and it's important that we get that at the very beginning.
It is, and if you go back a number of years, Hollywood used to have what was called the military circle,
Right.
of which had Riverside Military Academy had been there for years. For whatever reason, they had to go out of business. And these old dormitories were left. Working with a developer at that point in time, the Presidential Circle building got built. And it was very controversial. It was a high-rise, it was glass, it was modern. After we convinced the neighbors that it would be better than what they had, today it's an icon for the city.
So where your practice is in the solutions, finding solutions for clients and finding mutually beneficial solutions for both them and the public entity as they look to assist.
That's correct.
Wilson, I wanted to thank you so much. I mean, it's obvious that the wealth of experience that you bring, 50 years of experience both in community involvement and a strong legal presence, we very much are excited about having you here at Tripp Scott. Thank you.
You're welcome, and I'm excited to be here.
Thank you.